My name is Jonathan Galvas in Holy Rosary, Flint. I recently read a passage from the Desert Fathers as it pertained to discipleship, and it said, if you see a young man climbing to heaven on his own will, grab him by the foot and throw him back to earth, because it's not good. And I was that man. And now I know that there's nothing more fulfilling than knowing that you are doing God's will. I think the challenge, though, is really understanding what is God's will. And in order to understand that, you need to hear his voice. And in a world in which is surrounded by noise and worldly ambition and distractions, it can be really hard to hear God's voice. And so the advice I would have is you need to make time for prayer, daily prayer. Prayer is the only way in which you're going to truly know God's will for your life and hear his voice. But it's easier said than done to find time each day to pray. I can recall having the intent to pray every morning. However, finding the time to pray was a challenge. Before I knew it, my schedule would get the best of me. Meetings would run over. I'd be pulled in different directions, chasing tennis balls, and before I knew it, I'd be getting ready for bed. And so I had to have a mentality shift of, instead of finding time to pray, I had to make time to pray. And what that meant was not being so reactive to my day and being more intentional, more proactive with the prayer time. And so every morning when I started my day, I was able to look at my calendar, and I try to find 15 minutes in my calendar in which I would devote to prayer. And I would treat that time as I would an important business meeting, as a doctor's appointment, something I'd always schedule around, I couldn't miss. That time can be spent in numerous ways. For me, I'd like to find it within the 3 o'clock hour to pray the chaplet, but sometimes it was just 15 minutes of peace and quiet where I could think and pray and listen to God. Aside from daily prayer, I think finding an opportunity to receive the sacraments more frequently is important. If that's a daily mass or a weekly, monthly adoration, biweekly confession, I've found that God is always talking to us. We just need to make the time to listen.